Life didn't get harder by accident. Prices climbed. Wages didn't. That feeling you have that you are doing everything right but still falling behind, it's not psychological. It is a structural problem. Your parents earned less, but they could afford a life that now costs twice as much. This is why. Picture two lines on a chart. Productivity rising for decades, wages barely moving. If those lines had stayed connected, the typical American would earn $20,000 to $30,000 more today. That missing income marks the first major shift in how the American economy changed. For most of the 20th century, wages rose alongside the cost of living. When the economy grew, workers shared in it. Then the relationship broke. Productivity accelerated. Corporate profits climbed. Wages flattened. At first, the damage was subtle. Rent rose faster than pay. Healthcare costs climbed. Tuition edged up year after year. None of it felt catastrophic on its own. But the pressure never reversed. It compounded quietly. Each year tightened the margin just a little more. And that slow squeeze set up the next shift, one that hit every household at the same time. Look at your monthly essentials. Rent, health premiums, groceries. These aren't luxuries. They're non-negotiable. And over time, every one of them began rising faster than income. This wasn't random inflation. Entire sectors consolidated. Competition weakened. Pricing power concentrated. Hospitals merged into regional systems and raised prices far beyond inflation. College costs surged as education became debt-financed by default. Grocery prices jumped 20 to 30% during the recent inflation spike and stayed there even after supply chains recovered. When there's no real competition, companies can raise prices and keep them there. Consumers can't opt out. This wasn't a temporary shock. It was a structural shift. And it led directly to the next turning point. Your parents lived in a system where institutions absorbed risk. They had pensions instead of retirement accounts tied to market swings. They had long-term jobs instead of constant insecurity. They had affordable starter homes instead of bidding wars. Today, that risk sits almost entirely with the individual. You get 12-month leases that reset higher every year. You get health plans with rising deductibles. You get jobs that can disappear quickly. You get retirement accounts exposed to volatility. One unexpected expense, a car repair, a medical bill, a missed paycheck, can unravel an entire month. Stability isn't built in anymore. It has to be constantly defended. That's why everything feels fragile, even when nothing is technically wrong. And that created a widening gap between what life costs and what people earn. Into that gap rushed debt. Student loans replaced wage growth. Credit cards replaced emergency savings. Auto loans stretched to 6 and 7 years. Medical debt appeared without warning. Households didn't borrow because they were reckless. They borrowed because the math stopped working. When income stalled and costs kept rising, debt became the only way to stay afloat. Debt was supposed to be a temporary bridge to stability, not a permanent drain on future income. As balances grew and interest rates rose, that bridge turned into a trap. Future earnings were pulled forward just to survive the present. And then came the final shift, the one that locked the entire system in place. During the inflation surge of 2021 to 2023, prices spiked at the fastest pace in 4 decades. Most people expected relief once supply chains recovered and demand cooled. It never came. Grocery prices stayed elevated even after shortages ended. Rent reached record levels and didn't reverse. Insurance premiums rose despite strong corporate profits. Utilities climbed even as energy prices eased. This was the moment prices quietly became permanent. A temporary shock hardened into a new baseline. Companies raised prices during chaos and discovered they didn't have to bring them back down. Consumers had no alternatives. Wages, already lagging for decades, never adjusted. That's why even households earning over $100,000 now live paycheck to paycheck. Not because of bad decisions, but because the cost of stability outpaced the value of labor. You didn't fall behind. The system moved the finish line. Here's what it all adds up to. Wages stopped rising when productivity did. Essentials turned into profit engines. Risk shifted from institutions to individuals. Debt filled the gap, and a temporary price surge became a permanent reset. Life got more expensive by how the system evolved, and income never caught up. If you want to understand the systems shaping your money and your future, subscribe.